Hello, welcome to today's interview evening. Today we'll be discussing the topic of SCP Secret Laboratory, its past, present times and future with the CEO and the game director of the game itself. Hello Hubert.
Hello.
I am welcoming you today to discuss a few things about your game, especially the things revolving around the community and the plans for the future and abandoned plans.
Sure.
So here's the first thing that I really want to ask you. Many people actually asked you that before, but now it's one clear question, and we just need a one clear answer. What was the real motor for creating your game?
The real reason of why I started developing SCP-SL, right?
Yes, exactly.
So the first motivation was SCP Containment Breach and Garry's Mod, because I have never knew anything about SCP related stuff before I started playing the Garry's Mod game mode. So basically everything started from SCP Containment Breach Garry's Mod edition, because the owner of this game mode is my friend, and we saw that the Garry's Mod engine is kind of limited, so we wanted to make some kind of. I just asked him if it's okay to make some kind of rework in Unity to try and make automatic or procedural map generator and stuff like that. So basically everything that was limited by Garry's Mod engine was planned to be fixed in the Unity version, and I didn't expect it is going to grow so fast. And yeah, when we actually saw that it's working, we decided to make an entire project. And yeah, that's basically how it started. I also didn't know anything about SCP related stuff before, so Garry's Mod was my first SCP experience. Then I started playing Containment Breach, the original SCP Containment Breach game, and yeah, this is how it started.
All right. You said that we were creating the project of SCP-SL. Do you mean like you and the creator of the Breach mode? I think he's called Canada. Is right?
Yeah, he's called Canada. I mean, he wasn't the developer of the game. The idea of the gameplay comes from SCP Garry's Mod. That's why I say that we were creating this game, because most of the ideas were him. And by actually saying we, I meant me and my graphic artist, Traditarion. I think people don't really know who he is, but the entire heavy containment zone in the game has been modeled by him. And we were only those two programmers, or actually two game creators, who were programming this game from the very beginning.
Understandable. Thank you for answering this question. So now we are discussing the very first days, actually months, of the game. May you tell me now how different the original concept of the game you and Canada and Stradi were working on compared to what is now developed by the whole Northwood studio?
There was no solid plan for all the time. This game was only supposed to be a concept of how the real game mode could look like if it was written in Unity, and it didn't have any solid plans of how it's going to look in the future. Even those days, we are not having any plans for next a couple of years. Each update is being thinked of, if that's the word, before we start working on it. So we only have some short plans, we don't have any long-term plans. Obviously, we have some goals we would like to achieve somewhere in the future, but all of those features that are being implemented aren't older than 6 months. So yeah, we don't have any solid plans. We haven't gotten any solid plans for SCP-SL, so it doesn't really differ from the original idea.
That's actually understandable. So basically, what you're trying to say is that just from the beginning, Secret Laboratory was meant to be a Unity kind of remake or actually?
It wasn't supposed to be a remake. It was supposed to show how the Garry's Mod version would look like if it was built in Unity.
Oh,
So it wasn't supposed to be a real game. It just became real game when we saw that it's actually working, that it's actually playable, and it gives you similar experiences to the game mode.
so you say the time has shown that the concept of the game you were actually working on, that wasn't even certain it would be a good game. It has shown and it has proved that it has a potential, and the potential grew.
Actually,
Yes?
the idea itself had a potential, and I'm kind of happy. And I don't know why it happened that under the development, the idea, the uncertain idea, actually became a real thing, and I'm kind of happy about it.
Well, who wouldn't? So yes, we're talking about concepts and plans for the future, but you know, for making plans get real, you need money and people to work on it. So now we're talking about money, and especially the Patreon support people can provide to you. There is that Patreon page, patreon.com/Hubert Muszka. Yes, it says that currently you are earning $3,437 per month.
It's a beginning of the month, that's why it dropped a little bit, because it always drops at the beginning of the month, because not everyone has automatic renewal, if that's the word, of the subscription. That's why it drops every month.
Yes, but basically you have 330 patrons currently supporting the game with over a $3,000 per month. So now the question is, what is the money going to?
It's currently going to the development. The development of such a game is quite expensive. I mean, $3,000 may sound like a lot, but it's not a lot if the game is in top 100 top most played games in Steam. It's literally nothing compared to how much we have to spend in order to get some features going. We cannot afford any full-time workers, right? So that's why everyone is just working on per task. So we are simply paying per task, which kind of limits the amount of features and actually limits the speed of the development. That's why most of the updates are so slow. We simply cannot afford any full-time employees. It's also worth mentioning that taxes in Poland are quite huge, and that's why $3,000 is not everything we are getting. It's in general we can only spend at most a half of it.
Yeah, I mean this is pretty much true. You know, the whole VAT tax actually getting drawn twice, if I recall well, because once you pay for the patron support, you pay the tax.
VAT, so the value-added tax, is being paid by European patrons. VAT is always being paid by the customers. So if someone lives in EU, and let's say that the current the current tax value is 32%, that means that someone who pays $5 needs to pay 6.15, I guess. So yeah, VAT is being paid by clients, so it's not an issue of me. But the real issue is that the amount of money we are getting forced us to get in the second taxing threshold, I guess, which means we are paying 32% of income tax. So 32% at the very beginning is already being spent on taxes, and that's why it kind of hurts. That kind of limits.
This is not bad. I mean, not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
So basically, that 3,000 and let's say 3,500 right now currently, and you need to pay a third of that sum.
Exactly, a third of that sum.
So that leaves you with $2,000 to
Exactly.
spend for development of the game.
Yep, and people who work on the game are quite expensive because all the professionals are expensive. If we want to keep the game on a certain level, we need to hire people who know how to do their jobs, and most likely those people want to be well paid.
Yes, they do. So yes, we have talked about the patron money. Now, many people may actually ask, why won't you make the game?
Adding microtransactions, if I assume.
Yes, exactly.
So adding microtransactions would be a good idea for as a further plan. It's not something we are planning to implement this or in the next patch, because now, even though there are a lot of bugs in the game, we can justify ourselves that we are not earning too much, but I'm kinda afraid that if we start earning bigger money by adding the microtransactions, we will be forced by the people to fix all of those bugs that we have no clue how to fix them, because many of those bugs are present in the game not because we don't want to fix them, it's because we don't know how to fix them.
Yeah, I actually understand what you mean. So basically, put in microtransactions would put more pressure on you
Exactly.
as game developers.
Exactly, because microtransactions are the direct income of the game. That's why and it also limits the assets that people can receive. I'm not sure about that, but I'm kinda afraid that the Creative Commons license may limit us, that we ourselves cannot limit any content we provide.
Oh yes, actually the topic of Creative Commons license, that's quite a topic to talk about, mainly because this is the reason why Secret Laboratory will never be a game you have to pay for. Is it true?
Not really.
Can you please elaborate?
The Creative Commons share-alike license only limits us to that we cannot restrict any SCP-related content. So we can technically make all the we can basically bypass this system by giving the game for free, but selling a multiplayer DLC. So people without the DLC cannot play on multiplayer, so basically they cannot do anything, because the multiplayer system can be an independent work, which basically, it doesn't have to be on CC by SA. So technically we could avoid this system by selling the game for free, but also selling the multiplayer DLC, which is required for the game to be played normally. So we could bypass this system, but we don't want to do that because we just want to be fair, right? We want the SCP topic to spread.
Yes, that's actually pretty clever and pretty evil.
Yeah, it would be.
Now let's change topics a little bit and let's talk about the destination of the game progression. On the very beginning, before the interview, you told me that you can't really tell anything about the possible release date.
Okay, it's not because I cannot, it's because I don't know the ETA of the game, the Mega Patch Part 2. In which we are talking about. So basically the next update is going to be called Mega Patch Part 2, and it's going to include a lot of new features, and I really cannot tell you any estimated time of arrival, since we are currently in the testing phase, and it's quite glitchy because we have changed the entire multiplayer system, which requires a lot of testing, and we really cannot tell you when the update is going to be released, because we simply don't know that by ourselves.
That's actually understandable. But this is not what I was talking about. The destination of the game is that I want you, from the perspective of a game creator and CEO and a game director, when will you personally say that the game is done?
The game is done. The entire game is done, right? Well, I don't know. It's actually a hard question. The game will most likely stop the SCP-SL development when the game starts dying. Currently, we are getting high scores every month, so currently the game is definitely growing. The community of the game is definitely growing, and and I think that stopping the development in a peak of our activity isn't the best idea. So we are definitely not going to stop the SCPSL development anytime soon. But when the SCPSL will start losing its activity, most likely we'll start working on other projects where in the time of the development, most likely SCPSL will die. So we just want to keep the community with us and supplying them new games in the future.
All right, so what you're actually saying is that you, as a creator, will not say, you will never say the game.
People are still playing this game, and I think that canceling the development at this point has no sense. People are still, the community is still growing, and it would be a bad idea to stop the development over here. We will stop the development when the game will die, simply, like that.
Alright, that's actually pretty logical from the technical viewpoint. You will never say the game is done until people keep playing.
I mean, this game has a lot of the potential of many possible development ways. It's like CSGO. Even though CSGO seems to be finished, they can still add new game modes like the Battle Royale game mode or anything like this. There is always something that can be added in order to make the game more interesting, and I don't think that there will be any point in which we will say, okay, there is nothing to be added to the game. So we are going to continue the development of the game as long as it's alive.
Okay, thank you for this answer, because this is actually the kind of answer I expected. And okay, that sounded biased, but well.
But only a little bit.
I'm sorry. This is not a biased interview. Anyway, moving to the other aspect of the interview, that is the subject of the staff. Can you please tell me, is it true that a few weeks ago the staff got rid of the entire beta tester group?
We have actually did the opposite. We have removed most of the beta testers that hasn't been active, and we have hired new testers instead. And there was a small drama because of that, because many people were here from the very beginning of the game development, but unfortunately most of them hasn't been active, and that's why we had to create another team of beta testers called Quality Assurance Team. So they should not only play the game and look for bugs, but they should also start making some kind of looking for the explanations of how the bugs work and how we could possibly fix them. So I believe that the new team will be much more efficient. We are still in contact with the previous beta testers. We are not arguing or anything like this. It's just a new, better team.
All right, that actually explains quite a bit. So now, to conclude the two facts, the Mega Patch Part 2 is being tested on right now with the brand new crew of the beta testers. Continuing the subject of the staff, the question is, how many people are in the staff right now that are actually getting involved in development of the game?
The game is about the community. I mean, I always believe that the community actually creates this game. Try to imagine how soon the game would die if it didn't have any voice chat support. This game is being made by the community. People make this game, and we are only giving them a playground to play on. And so basically, that's why our staff member mostly consists of people from marketing, from PR, moderation, and so on. And the people that actually are in development, we currently have 126 members, and people who have development badge. Okay, so we have actually 49 members that actively make the game, so the actual developers, and 126 people in total. So the rest of them are all the moderators, PR, managers, and so on.
All right, that explains the question of the staff. Now, I have one question that randomly pops in my head. The question is, do you actually have any plans of any other game the studio would start creating after the after reaching the peak of the SCP-SL? Do you actually have any slightest idea?
We don't have any specific plans for a specific title. We just want to create more games somewhere in the future. We don't have any specific plans for any of them for now, but we are definitely not going to stop game dev topics after SCP-SL. That's not gonna be our only game.
Yes, the question is, will SCP Secret Laboratory be the only game that will be based on the SCP Foundation created by your studio?
It really depends. The only issue with the SCP-related stuff is the license. So if we wanted to make another games, they would also have to be free, or we would have to do our bypasses, which isn't something good. So we are not saying that no, but it's very possible. It really depends on how good lawyers we will have. We are still. I mean, no. It's not about this. It's not about game. We are not planning to break any Creative Commons rules. We just have to make sure how far we can go in order to not break the license, because we already, with a free game, we already have a lot of issues with the Creative Commons license, since we are banning cheaters on the servers. Some people think it's not acceptable by the CC by the Creative Commons license. Some people say it is. So we already have a lot of troubles with it. So I think that the only reason why we wouldn't make any games in the future related to the SCP would be the license. It's something which it technically should make this entire franchise to grow, but in our case it only makes it harder to work on the titles. So CC by SA actually makes the game development harder.
Alright, so I understand the legal part of creating a free game is actually what really is a pain in the ass.
And maybe that will be the reason why our future games won't be related to SCP-SL. But it's, as I said before, it's nothing certain. Most likely we are going to change our mind. Not most likely, but maybe. So basically, the only issue with making paid SCP games is the legal issues, and I don't think we really need them.
So moving to the other subject that is actually a bit connected to what we were talking about before, is actually your definition of, not really finishing the game, but definition of success. Do you think the game succeeded?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely succeeded, since, as I said before, we didn't expect it to grow at all. I honestly thought that the game is going to die after first week, especially that the very first week was very rough for us. The game contained a lot of issues, like you couldn't play one round without crashing or meeting 1,000 of bugs. I definitely think it succeeded because it went much further than all of us expected.
Thank you for this answer, yet the question remains in slightly different aspect. That is, do you think you, as a game creator, the creator of the game we are actually talking about all the time, do you think you have succeeded?
Me, as a person?
Yes, as a person. That's actually a bit of a personal question, so feel free not to answer this if you feel...
That's okay. I mean, I think it's all about money. For now, I cannot live from SCP-SL, since I don't pay out too much money from SCP-SL itself. So me as a person, I don't think I succeeded, but I believe that our next projects are going to allow me to make it a full-time job. I think my game succeeded, but me personally, I'm not able to live alone from the money I earn from SCP-SL. So me personally, I don't think I succeeded, but I'm kind of happy that at least my project has succeeded.
Okay, this is understandable, and I hope that your future plans they will succeed, as we were talking about success. And yes, the last serious topic I want to talk about today is actually the very last year before releasing SCP-SL on Steam. The time where you were mostly known from making streams, from creating the game, snooping in the code, writing codes.
Quick correction. We've been making this game for a year. I mean, I've been making this game for actually 9 months, I guess. I started in March and released it in December. So basically, it took how many months? 9, 7? I can't. 9, right? 9 months. Yeah, so it actually took 9 months. So a year before SCP-SL has been released, I've been nothing. So the project wasn't even planned. Most likely I didn't even know anything about SCP related stuff. So I think that the question was related to the last 9 months before the SCP-SL development, right?
Yes, something like the last 9 or maybe last 6 months before releasing, where you were actually deep in creating it, making streams a few times a week, and
I was actually making daily streams, yeah.
Yes,
of SCP-SL development.
Yes, that was actually that one time. Now, I mean, the part of
and that's actually the peak of my earnings. I was earning. It was basically a peak of my money. I think if I continued making those SCP-SL related streams, I could earn much more than I'm earning right now. So yeah, I think I should be a streamer instead.
Yes, actually, you hit the point in a bullseye. Why? Because the question is, you promised your top 10 patrons to put Easter eggs. Exactly.
Okay, I know what you're asking. Okay, go on, because I think most of the people who are listening to us don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe I'll explain. So basically, I promised to my top 10 donators that I'm going to put some Easter eggs related to them. And as you know, there are no Easter eggs related to with any nicknames in the game. And this is actually caused by a quite fun fact, because for some reason I made a couple of videos asking the people who donated to send me an email with their Easter eggs, right? With their willings of how the Easter egg is going to look like. And I have received 0 emails from the donators. 0 confirmed emails from the donators. So basically, it looked like people who donated the most simply disappeared.
That's actually pretty sad.
It really is. So if they contact me anytime in the future, I'm more than happy to add any Easter eggs. But for now, they're simply gone for some reason.
Yes. This question actually bugged me for quite a while, because I remember on the pre-Steam versions that there was that a stack of yellow paint on
cyan paint. Yeah, I mean, there were some Easter eggs, but after the rework, I asked again, and I have received no emails. So it would be quite strange if I only put the Easter eggs of 2 donators. So I just asked them again what to do, and I have received no emails. So that's kind of sad.
Yeah, I mean, considering one of your top donators was actually called Adolf Hitler,
yeah. one of our top donators were called Adolf Hitler, and I don't think that putting any Easter eggs related to that character would be a good idea as well.